Mahadev, Mahadev, Mahadev. Is the sound okay?
Hariom Swamiji. It is okay, Swamiji.
We shall begin. Om Yo Brahmanam Vidadhati Purvam Yo Vai Vedanshcha Prahinoti Tasmai Tamha Devamatma Buddhi Prakasham Mumukshurvai Sharanamaham Prapadye. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Namo Brahmadibhyo Brahma Vidya Sampradaya Kartribhyo Vamsharishibhyo Mahadbhyo Namo Gurubhyaha Sarvopaplavarahita Prajnanakanaha Pratyagartho Brahmaivahamasmi Brahmaivahamasmi. Vedantartha Vibhasakaya Gurave Shantaya Sannyasine Nanavadi Nagendra Sanghapavaye Yogindra Vandyaya Cha Mohatvanta Divakaraya Bhagavat Padabhidham Bibhrate Tasmai Bhashakrite Namostu Satatam Purnaya Bodhatmane. Om. It is very well ascertained that it is through Sarvakarma Sannyas, which is the prelude to Jnana Nishtha, for firm abidance in the knowledge, which then becomes the cause for moksha. Arjuna says that any which ways I wanted to leave this karma, and somewhere I have also realized that by my acquiring the kingdom, wealth, power, position, or even the celestial world, the heaven, Swarga, is not going to wipe out the sorrow. It is incapable. And this moksha is possible only by gaining knowledge. And that path of knowledge means a relinquishment of all karma. And therefore, there are two things which now seem to have some resonance. Arjuna's initial wish to give up karma wants to give it up because it is hard on him. Performance of the duty and duty like that, which Arjuna wants to execute, is hard on him, and therefore Arjuna wants to give it up. And here we have found a reason where relinquishment of duty, of the karma, is sanctioned. So let me do that. Bhagavan Shri Krishna says undoubtedly, sarva karma sannyasa is required. But Arjuna, this sarva karma sannyasa has got there is a prerequisite. And that prerequisite is that either it is meant for knowledge, A, or that sarva karma sannyasa means now the knowledge is already acquired as a grihastha, as many of you people who are still attending Upanishad, Gita, Brahma Sutra, etc. Knowledge can be acquired. But now you need the knowledge to be firmly rooted. So that no doubt or any contradictory experience can ever cause the knowledge to become clouded. You get it? That is jnana nishtha. So what is the sannyas? What is the purpose of sannyas, sarva karma sannyas? For the sake of knowledge, or if the knowledge is already there with you, then it is meant for firm abidance of that knowledge, so that the knowledge remains firm. And firmness means the knowledge which cannot be clouded because of any experience, whether that is a pleasant or unpleasant experience or whatever. No experience or no doubt can cast a shadow over it. This is the firmness of knowledge. In fact, every experience, good or bad, will be consumed by the fire of knowledge by turning it into the experience of Paramatma. Brahmarupena, or every doubt can be dispelled. Every doubt can be dispelled. When the knowledge has got that kind, it is burning like a conflagration, then that is this is the purpose of sarva karma sannyasa. Look at that. Okay. Now Arjuna says, sir, I may not have knowledge at this moment, but I will do sarva karma sannyas. I will relinquish all my duty, all my karma. And then I will strive for knowledge. Then it will be called as Vividisha Sannyasa. Okay. Looks perfectly okay. Is not it justified? What is the problem here? The problem over here is, Arjuna, you may relinquish, you may even strive for it, and yet the knowledge will not take place. Forget the abidance of knowledge, firmness of knowledge. Knowledge itself won't take place. Why are you people have got, why are you doing this? Why are you saying this? You should be encouraging me. Instead of that, you are discouraging me. Arjuna, yet it will not take place. Why? Because if the antakaranam, the inner equipment called as your mind, which has got these four divisions, mana, buddhi, chitta, and ahankar. These are the four functions performed by the inner equipment. And over here, in all the four sections of the antakaranam, we require sufficient optimum amount of purity. What would be the optimum amount of purity related to each section of antakarana? Have you ever thought of it? Now, when a person truly does not demand, when there is not even the unconscious demand, look at that. We are talking about not just a conscious demand for any vision, for any objects of this world or other world, but even the mind does not hanker for it unconsciously. What would be the impact on all the four cognitive faculties? Have you ever thought of it? What would be the sankalpa vikalpa of the mind? What would be the adhyavasaya of the buddhi? Adhyavasaya meaning the nishchaya, certainty, certainty, because buddhi means understanding, means certainly you understand this is a table, this is a table. It is not a refrigerator. So there is certainty about it. Then it is knowledge. This is a table. It is not a refrigerator. But I thought it looks like refrigerator. Let us call it refrigerator. Come on. By you wanting to call it refrigerator, it is not going to make ice. And therefore, there is adhyavasaya, certainty. Knowledge means there is certainty to that cognition. When there is a certainty to the cognition, it is called as knowledge. Because this cognition is also generated by defectless pramana. Got it? Because it is pramanajanyam. That vritti, when it's pramanajanyam, it is going to be adhyavasaya buddhi. Got it? When the vritti is sankalpa vikalpatmika, it is going to be mind. And when the buddhi is only going, or the vritti, the thought process, the cognitive process faculty is going to be only projections of the psychology from the impressions which have been already gathered in form of memory, etc. What is that? Chitta. And ahankara means ahamasmi, this cognition of I am. Pay attention to this. I am, cognition of I am, ahamasmi vivritti. Now, when we are going to say the antakaranam is shuddha, it means what? What is this? What is its impact on all these four sections? So, the buddhi now no longer is ready to rest on the idea that I am the experiencer, I am the doer. And therefore, the doership and experiencership, the idea of any kind, let me become the experiencer of the pleasures of heaven. No demand. And therefore, even in case of ahankara, the idea getting associated with ahankara, as I am the doer, I am the experiencer, now is not having a firm grip on this cognition I am. It is loose, ahamas. And therefore, this fellow is able to appreciate this fact somewhere that I am is something that is still more than the body-mind complex. It is not the body-mind complex, or it is not even the product of body-mind complex. But what is this I? This I is something that is definitely different. And this is what he has. Now this sankalpa vikalpa mind, which keeps on thinking, going over there, it would be nice. Hey, but what happens if somebody is going to not allow me go there? Now this kind of sankalpa vikalpa, because now it is focused on vishayas, is not there, and therefore the mind is not going to entertain so much of the objects of the world. It is not going to dwell on these objects. You see, Shuddhantakaranam. Now what happens is that such an antakaranam, such an equipment is now ready, means that it has become a right receptacle for knowledge to take place. The knowledge that Atma is. It is and therefore, when one does sarva karma sannyasa with the antakarana shuddhi, then now his sannyasa becomes fruitful. But say, suppose somebody takes to sannyasa without the necessary purity of antakaranam, though that person may strive hard, yet the knowledge cannot take place. And therefore, him taking to sannyasa becomes fruitless. And now, there is yet one more thing which Shankaranandji brings out. And this is what I want you to see. Because ordinarily, this is not what you are going to hear. And in his commentary, the teacher here says, because this is Kaushitaki Upanishad, over there, it is said that he who takes to sannyas and is not able to commit himself thoroughly only to the knowledge now, then for such a person, Indra says, I shall punish them. Now, of course, punish in the sense it will be after the death. Uski gati kya hogi? What will happen to him, of such a person who took to sannyas but was not able to give himself to the pursuit of knowledge because the mind was not sufficiently pure? The mind then therefore could not dwell or immerse itself in Brahmajnanam, but that mind, what was it doing? It is, if there is no Brahmachintanam, then obviously there will be Vishaya Chintanam. You understand? If there is no Brahmachintanam, what will be the other thing? Vishaya Chintanam. Dangerous. Being a sannyasi and the mind dwelling on the Vishayas now, what is, so let it be normal, not normal is not the question. What happens to such a person is our issue. Obviously, when he's still in the body, his life will have a dual facet, and that is that he will want to project to others that what a nice sannyasi and Mahatma I am, but somewhere inside he still feels, if I wish I got that thing, to eat, or whatever, Stri, Putra, Vitta, popularity, or something like that. He still is like that, dwelling on it. And such a person dies without knowledge, because the knowledge could not take place. And knowledge could not take place because he could not give himself completely to the pursuit of knowledge. The Antakaranam was still demanding objects of the world. Then what happens to such a person after his death? What happens to that is something what only the Shastra can tell. And over here, it is brought out with very, very, fiercely. Bhayam, it will cast little fear. And that is the reason why one should not, never ever just hurry into sannyas if one is not prepared. This is dangerous. Why here? Arunmukhan yatim salavrikebhyaha prayachham iti vedanta vimukhanam yatinam indra bhayashravanachya. In that particular section of the Upanishad, Indra, who is the Shasak meaning, like the ruler, and he is going to rule with an iron rod in the hand. Perfect. You cannot fool him there. So this Indra says, Arun Khan Yatim. These sannyasis who were now Bahirmukha, Vishayabhimukha yatis, after they die, I cast them to the jackals and wolves. Salavrikebhyaha prayachham. This can have two meanings. One is that they will be cast into that kind of an experience where they find that they are being torn live by the wild animals, like wild animals. So the pain, or they will be cast into the bodies of these wild animals. Either Salavrikebhya prayachham. So now about these yatis who could not pursue knowledge, could not keep themselves immersed because the Antakaranam was not Shuddha. To these yatis, This is their, to these sannyasis, this is their, this is the punishment, this is what is their gati. This is where they will have to reach. This is what comes to them. Indra Bhaya Shravana. This is what the Shastras say. Therefore, Arjuna, even before one takes a hasty decision, because a person making a decision that I want to give up all and take to sannyas and I will live like this in the ashram and all these things, I will wash my own clothes. You want to take to sannyas so that you can wash clothes and hang them on a wire. This is the reason why some people are fascinated by that idea of, living like a sannyasi. Hey, no. It is not the fascination for that kind of a particular kind of a lifestyle. Then become a hippie. Now, it is not an overnight change of mind or anything. It simply means a disposition. It is a disposition, the very character of a person. When he has that necessary character, then he gives up the karma and then gives himself to the pursuit of knowledge. The knowledge takes place. Eventually, jnana nishtha also takes place. And then there is jivan mukti and videha kaivalyam for such a person. But a person who hastily has taken the decision and gives up the karma, now he does not have knowledge, does not even have, therefore no jnana nishtha, therefore no jivan mukti, not even videha kaivalyam. Then what does he have? Indra is waiting. Indra is waiting with his pets. This is not what Abhishek Chaitanya has brought, okay? This is a Shruti. This is the Shruti. He says, Arun Mukhan Yatin Sala Vrikebhya Prayacham. Now, Shankaranand says over here, after quoting this Shruti, Vedanta Vimukhanam Yatinam Indriya Bhayashravanach. Now we know what happens to those who took to sannyasa but could not give themselves to knowledge, nor do they want it now, because now they want some, association with political people, want to make ashram, bigger ashrams, some ambition, and in competition they want to prove our ashram and more followers. My Bhaktagana is on more. Not only here, in Videsh also, I have got all these devotees. Middle class devotees, no. I sit only there. Vedanta Vimukhanam Yatinam Indriya Bhayashravanachya. And therefore now, instead of giving to the pursuit of knowledge, they start doing something else. And when this happens, this is indeed a dangerous thing with a loss which is almost irreparable. It will take several lives to fill up this loss. It will take several lives. And that's why taking to sannyas just like that, Arjuna, is not, Just because you don't like your duty, I'm going to take to sannyas, and then thinking that okay, now every day, Swamiji, I will listen, will do Vedanta Shravanam only. There was one great saint from India, Kondavlekar Maharaj. Maharaj used to say, because that's a sentence, he was from Maharashtra, so from in Marathi, वेदांताचं श्रवण आणि विषयाचं चिंतन केलं तर दुःखाचा साक्षात्कार नक्की होईल. He says over there that if the person does the Shravanam of Vedanta but dwells on Vishayas, on the appeasement of senses and ego, etc., for such a person, one thing is definitely there. He will have the direct experience of dukkha, not direct experience of Paramatma. He will have direct experience of dukkha. Dukkha ka sakshatkar nakki hoyi. Take it home. That's why taking to sannyas, there is nothing else. Arjuna, are you prepared? Just don't say hastily that you are prepared. Because if you really were prepared, you had plenty of time. You could have asked me these questions even during those days. But now suddenly you are enlightened. So you're jerked out of it. Because you have found a duty that is a difficult one which you want to avoid. And therefore now you are going to paint this avoidance of duty as your spiritual pursuit, which is not good. Got it? And therefore you require karma which will give you the antakarana shuddhi. Therefore you can't miss it. Now I'm going to take you through a little more of how Shankaranandji takes you through this. It is very nice. I mean, it's really nice. This does not mean, that, we are giving you a license to become judgmental about other Mahatmas and people, for heaven's sake. It is not, that you are being made a judge of other people. It is totally meant for our own introspection, to find out how far I have reached, where I still need to reach, etc. This is how a seeker has to find. Not that he goes along. Right? Vishay Chintan, okay, we will report it to Indra. That is not your job. Indra already knows how to get his job done. Okay? And now, Vedanta Vimukhanam Yatinam Indriya Bhaya Shravanaksha Pratyak Tattva Vivekaya Sannyasa Sarva Karmanam Shrudya Vidhiyate Tasma Tatyagi Patito Bhavet Iti. Now, what was the purpose of sannyas? So that one can discover the meaning of the inner self, of the word I. Pratyak Tattva Vivekaya. Okay? Sannyasa sarva karmanam. So sannyas of sarva karma, relinquishment of sarva karma, of all the karmas, was done so that one could totally give himself to the discovery of the self. So one took to sannyas, but forgot that it is meant so that I can give myself completely to it. Instead of that, he gives up that very Shravana Manana Nididhyasanam and starts doing what? Selling agarbattis, spiritual agarbattis. Because they're selling agarbattis. We are making only organic agarbatti, organic, non-organic. How does it? You are tasmat tatyagi, and he who gives that up. Now, what is his? He is said as to be patito bhavet. He has fallen from the grace. Patito bhavet tatyagi. Tatyagi means pratyak tattva vivek tyagi. Patito bhavet. Athva he who takes to sannyas and gives up sannyas, tatyagi patito bhavet. That's why it is very, very, one has to be very. Iti yatehe swarupa viveka bhave patitatva smaranat. And therefore, becoming a yati, becoming a sannyasi, and not having this discrimination of atma and anatma, what happens? Viveka bhave, because there is absence of this viveka, then what happens? Patitatva smarana, because the Smritis also say that such a person, then his life decays, stagnates, falls. Patitatva smaranat sannyasasyapi karmatva avishesha tavan matrena moksha sambhavat. तस्माद् यतेः मुमुक्षोः सर्वथा वेदान्त श्रवणेन ज्ञानं प्रयत्नेन सम्पादनीयम् इति सूचितं भगवता. And therefore, now Shankaranandji takes you, shows you another aspect of this particular shloka. We already have appreciated that yes, we require karma. And we require karma to the point that antakaranam, the inner equipment, is rendered shining pure. Okay? Is rendered pure. Oh, like an innocent baby. You are saying innocent baby, and you're comparing because the desires, the ego, the prejudices, everything has yet not started manifesting in the baby, and that's why you are calling it innocent. But don't forget that innocence of the baby is only because the antakaranam is yet not ready to manifest what he has already brought. Let the body mature, and then you will see all these desires, ambitions. And that's why the mother, father, when the son grows up, they say, you were not like this before. When you were a small child, you used to listen to the mother and father, and for you, mother, now we have become your jaan ke dushman. You are not even able to hope, meet eye to eye with us. Immediately shut the door and you tell, don't enter my room. This is what has happened to you. That time he was not able to do that because the mind yet had not started exhibiting, manifesting what he had already brought, the samskaras. That's why when we are going to say purity, that purity is of different kind. It is just not like, presently you are comparing it with child only because it is not, that equipment is not capable of showing it. Got it? So now, over here, we are going to say, Tasmat yatehe mumukshoho. What is what? Till the mind is rendered pure, we require karma. We will require karma. Giving up of karma before the mind is completely made pure to its optimum level, before only one gives up the karma, then that is going to be the cause of fall. And he has shown you with two lines. One is from the Kaushitaki Upanishad, with Indra standing over there with his pets. Or the Smriti, which says, Shrutya vidhiyate tasmat tatyagi patito bhave. That way. So now we understand the importance of still holding on to the karma and turning it into karma yoga. We have understood. All right. So this message is clear and loud. This message is clear and loud from the verse number 4. Yet there is something still more which this verse number 4 is able to deliver. And that is something which he now brings out. About the karma yoga and the necessity of karma, we have understood. The other thing he says is about it is for someone who has given up the karma. Means the one who is sarva karma sannyasi, who has relinquished. For such a person, there is something for that person. And the earlier message was the one who has not relinquished, but still has to do his own karma for him. Now comes the part where for the one who has relinquished, he says, Tasmat yatehe mumuksho. For a mumukshu who is basically a mumukshu and therefore a yati, sannyasi, what happens to him? Sarvatha Vedanta Shravanena Jnanam Prayatnena Sampadaniyam iti suchitam. And therefore, without having said it in these words, yet what is meant by Sri Bhagavan is that the sannyasi should now, with all his energy, focused only on one thing, and that is Vedanta Shravanam. Because there are going to be some sannyasis who are going to say, our organization has got so much of work, we don't have time for all this. This is dangerous. I'm rolling agarbattis day and night. I don't have time for stuff. Otherwise, how will we finish the order, And people should get agarbattis because when they burn agarbattis, they will get spiritual. So you have become sannyasis only to make rooms of people and their houses fragrant. And that is the purpose of your sannyas, so that people can have fragrant houses and smoky houses. When people ask what are the sannyasis doing, are they running any orphanages? So you make orphans and sannyasis should take care of those orphans. Why are we having a structure of a society where orphans are getting created? Why are we having a structure of a society where human beings are created who do not have caretakers? Then there is something essentially wrong with the model of society that we have adopted. And when the model of the society itself is wrong, then you are questioning, you are appointing some sannyasi as a caretaker, and then he's doing a good work. Well, if somebody does it, I'm not against it. But look at that. What has that society made a sannyasi into? You understand? It's not a very ideal society that we create illegitimate children, orphans, children who are not being cared for. And then this whole thing gets a legitimate sanction, a legal sanction, as if it is something, a spiritual sanction, because now, sannyasis are doing it. Look at that. Now, so therefore he says, Sarvatha Vedanta Shravanena Jnanam Prayatnena Sampadaniyam iti Suchitam Bhagavata. And therefore, taking to sannyasa, one should, if one has taken to sannyas, one should give all his energy, time, heart, intelligence only for the knowledge to take place. Shravana Manana Nididhyasanam, this is all. So Vedanta Shravanena Jnanam Prayatnena Sampadhaniyam iti Suchitam Bhagavata. This is what is also indicated by Sri Bhagavan over here without saying it in words. Okay? Nacha Sanyasanadeva Siddhim Samadhigachat. And he says, well, if you, Mr. Abhishek, Swami Abhishek Chaitanya, though you said that it is not said in words, he says that yes, it has been said in words. In the same very words. Where, how? Nacha Sanyasanadeva Siddhim Samadhigacchati. Just by taking to sannyasa, one will not attain the siddhi, the accomplishment. Taking to sannyasa, because one has to commit himself to knowledge completely. And therefore, you stopped in between. You have taken to sannyas, but what about Vedanta Shravanam? No, you have taken. That is the reason why a sannyasi is called as yati. Yati means the one who is relentlessly putting in effort. Now you see, a grihastha is doing karma, so you can understand that he is putting in effort. But instead of calling him a person who is intensely putting in effort, a sannyasi who has relinquished the karma is called as one who is relentlessly putting in effort, yati, because he is doing yatna, prayatna. Why? Why so? This is because having given up the karma, now there is even more intensity in his effort. And that effort is not the effort for anything else, but it is the effort for in the direction of knowledge. Knowledge means experience. Okay? Now, iti chakaras tvarthaha. Nacha sanyasanadeva. In that part of the word, you find cha. Cha is generally, it means and also this is what is meant by the word cha. He says the word cha over here alters its meaning to say to, but not also. It changes to mean but. Moksha is not attained by relinquishing karma alone. Then, having relinquished, now one does Shravana Manana Nididhyasana. But, so now that, but, sure. That conjugation but now gives you this whole idea. Sannyasa Yoga Itikha. This is a nice part. Yes, we have few minutes and now we will be able to cover it. Sannyasa Yoga Nityatra Brahmavidam Yatinam Brahmani Aropita Nama Rupa Grahana Tyagaha Sannyasa Shabdena Uchyate Natu Karma Sannyasaha. Now you see, न कर्मणा न प्रजया धनेन त्यागेनैके अमृतत्वमानुषुः परेण नाकं निहितं गुहायां बिभ्राजते तद् यतयो विशन्ति वेदान्तविषयान् सुनिश्चितार्थाः संन्यासयोगात् यतयः शुद्धसत्त्वाः. Now, in this mantra, Sannyasa Yoga Yatayaha Shuddha Sattvaha. The sannyasi through the sannyasa yoga. What is it? The sannyasi is through sannyasa yoga. What is sannyasa yoga? Now you already is a sannyasi. And therefore, now the word sannyasa yoga and the yati, they have two different meanings. He is a yati, which means he has already relinquished karma. A. Then what is the meaning of sannyasa yoga for the yati? It means now that sannyasa yoga word means a relinquishment of that what is false, giving up or transcending the names and forms to discover the reality behind the names and forms is free from names and forms. So that relinquishment is the relinquishment of ignorance. So the word sannyasa yoga in that sentence means a relinquishment of ignorance. How can the ignorance be relinquished? Only through knowledge. And therefore, over here also we find that after giving up of karma, what is there to be given up? Ignorance. And ignorance can be given up through knowledge. And therefore, it is all it means is having taken to life of sannyasa, there is only pursuit of knowledge. Got it? But this won't be possible if one does not have purity of mind. He can give up the karma, but he won't have knowledge. No matter how sincere that person may be, he cannot have knowledge because the mind is yet not pure. And therefore, do not be hasty in making such a decision. Do not be hasty. Be sincere. Be earnest. Earnestness does not mean being hasty. Okay? And therefore, Arjuna, follow karma yoga. This is the meaning. Now, Bhagavan Shri Krishna still further takes you into understanding it even more deeply. How does he do that? Let us do as Bhagavan himself takes us through. Well, friends, today is Bhagavan Shankaracharya's Jayanti, meaning the birth anniversary of Bhagavan Shankaracharya. And we had the celebrations of the puja this morning. We had the parayana of some portion of Bhagavan Shankaracharya's literature in the early morning, followed by the puja, elaborate with Rudrabhishek, everything. So, friends, as a duty of every grihastha is, he should offer food, clothes, or something to the sannyasi. That is a duty. And at least on the day that we consider to be auspicious, since the teacher incarnated for us over here, the Lord incarnated as in the form of a teacher whose light, whose words are capable of giving us enlightenment. One should remember the Lord in that form, offer the salutations, and serve, give whatever you can, some diksha to a sannyasi, some clothes, some blanket, anywhere, wherever you are. Please do that. Well, friends, thank you very much. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnaha Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Avashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutrabhashakritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Veda Vibhagine Vyomavadvyaptidehaaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Thank you all. Thank you very much.